don't last forever. Whoever has the funds to jump on is the one that will jump on quickly and benefit from it, right? So if you have that discipline to save, then opportunities will not.
Charity begins at home. The same also applies to having these conversations around money.
Good afternoon and welcome to Unza Radio 91.7 FM on Unza Campus Chronicles. My name is Lisa Phiri, known as Mona Lisa, and today our show is about financial literacy. We're in the week of financial literacy, and we are joined by the one and only Madam Mumba and Mr. Karabo. Welcome to Unza Radio. Welcome to Unza Campus Chronicles. I hope I pronounced your names correctly.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, Lisa.
All right, you're welcome. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
All right, so in the spirit of financial literacy, but before we get into that, I just want to find out, how are you doing?
Good. I'm good. Okay. I'm enjoying this week. It's a busy week.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. Yeah. How are you, sir?
No, I'm good, thanks. Really looking forward to the week, like what Member said. It's Financial Literacy Week in the insurance space, so it's something that we're really looking forward to.
All right. So now, starting with you, Mrs. Mumba, what is Financial Literacy Week and why is it so important?
Yeah, so Financial Literacy Week is a campaign that Zambia celebrates every year, and we've been celebrating this campaign since 2013. And the whole goal of Financial Literacy Week is to educate people so that they understand and manage money responsibly. So it's more than a knowledge acquisition campaign, but it's about empowering people, you know, putting people in a place where they are confident to plan, confident to save, to invest, and then also confident enough and disciplined enough to then protect what they have, the wealth that they have built. The campaign draws from Global Money Week, which is, at this point now we're looking at a campaign that is celebrated not annually, but also globally. And this falls under OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It's an organization that works with with different governments to focus on 3 areas. Number 1, economic development, financial stability, and the well-being of individuals in a country. So it's basically that, educating people so that they are better placed financially, so that ultimately they are able to impact the economy.
All right, thank you very much. That is a very detailed explanation. And over to you, Mr. Karabo. So this year's theme is money, smart money talks. Why is this theme particularly important for young people and families today?
Okay, so for starters, the theme Smart Money Talks encourages open conversations around money at home, at school, even in our communities, just so that we remove that stigma and the fear around, financial discussions. This way, it will help young people even within their homes. So this theme is very important that, we start at the grassroots, which are the children, and we end up having our children more informed to make these financial decisions, especially when we are faced with, financial challenges, be it, digital payments, getting loans, or even these complex transactions. They will be better placed in society to make these financial decisions, which will eventually benefit the economy and our Zambian nation.
Financial literacy habits. It's important that children pick these up when they are young, so that even as they experience life as teenagers, as youths, then as students, when they go into employment, they're experiencing these habits at every stage, because it's different. The challenges that you have when you are in school is different. They're different from the challenges that you have when you are in employment, but the principle still remains the same. For instance, knowing what is essential and what is not essential. For instance, if I know to say that I have a 1,000 kwacha, I won't go and buy something that is non-essential in that 1,000. I'll first think to say, what are my basic needs? That is where I start from. What is it that I can't do without? And so the same principle, you get to apply it at every stage in your life. But if you don't start young, you find that people struggle. And sometimes you can be a grown-up and then you find your friends are making certain mistakes and you're thinking, but this is so obvious. But maybe it's not obvious because they never developed the habit of choosing to say what is essential, what is not essential. And as Karabo mentioned, the theme Smart Money Talks then allows us to engage.
Being able to, have that mindset to say, I want to be able to be a good citizen when I'm earning my financials. And it's also important that, insurance is also involved when we come to having these habits, because you can save as much money, but if that money is not insured, if it's not covered, it can all go to waste in a split second. Take, for example, like I mentioned, if you have an accident and if suppose your motor vehicle is not comprehensively covered, you now have to go into your savings and now spend on either, reinstating that vehicle in its, position that it was before the accident. If you suppose you had insurance, you wouldn't have to touch your savings. The insurance company will already cover that, and already you're in a position where you have peace of mind. You don't have to now worry about looking for more money to save. So those are the habits that I can encourage young people as well as the general public on how to manage and develop our finances going forward.
Started working or running a small business, what practical steps can they take to balance spending, saving, and planning for the future?
So these principles really, it's a trickle-down effect. Whatever habits you had when you were into, then perpetuate. Thank God for knowledge. These programs, if you're listening in and maybe you never learned the importance of saving, of investing and budgeting, you can turn around your life. Yes. So it's for somebody who's starting a business now, these principles then come in very handy. For instance, if I learned very young the importance of saving, the importance of investing, the importance of planning, and the importance of protecting my money, then I will apply those same principles in my business. So when you're starting a small business, for instance, if you know to say that your capital, as an example, is 50,000 kwacha, why would you go to a place where rentals are, for instance, 20,000 per month? That will wipe out your entire capital, right? So you having that discipline where money is concerned is being real enough to say, look, with a 50,000 kwacha, I have to look for a place that doesn't take up so much rental income. Because when you're planning, you don't just, because the more you plan, the more you realize that much as you plan, sometimes there are things that come outside of the budget. You can plan to say that this is what's going to happen, but sometimes eventualities do come up. He did mention to say that sometimes, the car can break down. As a business, as an example, when you have employees, an employee could die. You may need to assist them with funeral assistance and stuff like that. So it's about you seeing the bigger picture, when you're looking at all these things, planning, just be
attend. So now to our last question, which goes both to you, Mr. Karabo, and you, Mrs. Mumba. As we conclude, what one piece of advice that you would give to the listener about building a financially secure future? So we'll start with you, Mr. Karabo, and then we're going to head to Mrs. Mumba, then we can close.
Of Zambia to use trusted financial services. We've heard of a lot of stories where people are scammed through these, financial services and platforms. So I'd encourage everyone to make sure they do their due diligence, they research on these financial services and platforms that they want to use, just so that they are in a position to grow and protect their money.
All right, thank you. Now over to you, Mrs. Mumba.
I think I'll focus more on a term which I think I have talked about on this show, that's economic citizenship, and really reminding people to say that as an individual you are very important, because we say individuals are the ones that make up the family makes up the community, and it's from the community where businesses are formed, and without the community and the families we can't have an economy. So when you're making these decisions at individual level, think big, because you are impacting the next person. You are impacting your family, you're impacting your community, you are impacting the nation of Zambia. So my encouragement would be intentional in getting as much information as you can where financial literacy is concerned, and how you can translate that into impact on this nation. I know it can sound like it's big, but first start with impact with your family, because like I said, it's a trickle-down effect. If you do something good for your family, it then trickles down to the community and then ultimately to the economy. So always think of it like that.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today on Unza Radio, Unza Campus Chronicles to be specific. Thank you for sharing the Financial Literacy Week, which is the Smart Money Talks. Thank you so much, madam, and thank you so much, sir. And hopefully we'll be hosting you guys next year again. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And please do make sure that you search up their social media platforms, or Symmetric Insurance Limited on Facebook, and make sure that you register for their webinar, or that is going to be on Thursday. Sign up, you get real insights from professionals, from experts. This has been on Unza Radio, Unza Campus Chronicles, 91.7 FM. My name is Lisa Phiri, known as Mona Lisa. Bye.